Hi, welcome to WMBB. About any of the updated information as far as FEMA drop locations. We have a representative from FEMA. We're going to be sharing stories about what they've seen, some of our reporters and some reporters from our sister stations about what they've seen from next to our nations that are down here. Reporters going out into the communities, into Callaway and Springfield, Lynn Parker, Lynn Haven, which is like some of the biggest devastation, as well as Mexico Beach, which will be broadcasting in about an hour from there. Ross Whitley and Kelsey Peck are going to be out there with another representative from another one of our sister stations, are going to be broadcasting an hour from out there in Mexico Beach, and we'll give you all the updated information out from there as well. We're actually back in the studio. This is the first time since you and I were on air for about 12 hours on Wednesday, and then Amy and Jerry were here for about 30 minutes before we had to evacuate. So we're finally back in this studio for the first time.
And we'll actually start off with
We're going to start off with weather,
yeah. That's a big concern.
It is a big concern.
Justin Kiefer joins us now in the studio. Justin, what's the latest?
Good to see you guys.
Good to see you.
Yeah. Before we jump into weather, the shout out is not loud enough for our engineering team, who has worked tirelessly at night, at day, to get this production out there.
It's just possible.
It's just amazing what they've done, what they've been able to do, what they're going to continue to do for the foreseeable future. Yeah. But to get this point where we are right now from where we were back on Wednesday afternoon,
it's amazing.
It's just amazing.
They've been working around the clock, and we're glad to be back in the studio.
Absolutely. So let's take a look at our forecast for North Florida for the next couple of days. You know, and just give some sort of forecast so that you can plan perhaps your day across North Florida and maybe get some information for the people who probably don't have communication issues or any communication at all. Maybe you can get a message, hey, this is coming your way. Right now it's not bad. There's nothing bad coming our way. Here's a look right now. Let's take a look. I've got weather graphics. This is perhaps the coolest thing I've been able to say in the last week. I got a weather graphic. Here are the weather headlines. Hot and humid, so that's not really that good news. Some spotty daytime showers right through the rest of this week, and very warm weather at night. Also not good news, because all the folks who don't have a roof don't want a lot of rain. Obviously no electricity means no air conditioning. Warm weather at night means things just don't cool off, especially on the inside of homes. So that's just something we have to prepare for. So here's a look at the forecast for North Florida for tonight. Coastal zones, low 70s for overnight lows. The coastal zone would be maybe 3 or 4 miles from the Gulf of Mexico inland. Inland zones, Highway 20, Interstate 10 northward, maybe about 68. Warm and humid, a little light southwesterly wind coming in off the Gulf of Mexico. Your forecast for tomorrow, and you'll have to forgive me just a bit to keep up with the days. I do believe tomorrow's Tuesday. Hot and humid. High temperatures mid-80s for the coastline, near 90 inland. Very isolated showers and a thunder shower possible. You see a rain chance at 20%. So there's no washout rain coming. It'll be spotty here for the next 24 hours. This is through your Tuesday. Now the week ahead along the coastline, you see your rain chance at 10, then up to 20, and then maybe 30%. So incrementally, a little more rain popping up. A few showers, maybe even a thunder shower on Saturday. Another front's going to come through on Saturday, a cold front. Not a big giant cold front with severe weather. It will, though, bring some cooler weather. That would be good. But tomorrow for inland areas up near 90, stays in the upper 90s for Wednesday. 30% chance for scattered showers and storms, and the thunderstorm chance, sorry for the lack of a weather icon here, but there'll be one looks just like that. The rain chance at 40%. So scattered thunderstorms, then that weak front slips through, and on the back side of the front, temperatures will be dipping perhaps into the upper 70s and low 80s for daytime highs, upper 50s to low 60s for nighttime lows. That's once we get past Friday and Saturday. So really kind of steamy, almost summer-like next couple of days. A better chance, a scattered shower and storm threat for the end of the week. You see your temperatures still in the mid to upper 80s. One quick thing to mention, I checked the tropics when I had a little access to some internet. There was one little weak weather disturbance in the western Caribbean near Honduras and Nicaragua. likely just to go into Central America. I do not expect any of that to make into the Gulf of Mexico. Now, the front that comes through this weekend will stall over the Gulf, and there may be some moisture along that we'll have to take a look at next weekend, like the 20th, 21st. But until then, kind of summary, then a little break as we get toward the end of this week. That's the first forecast I've been able to give in quite some time. Kelsey and Kelly, it's good to be back.
Thank you, Justin. And we'll check back in with you shortly for some more. And we have so much help here in Bay County. And FEMA, 24 FEMA crews on the ground right now.
Yeah, and Dave Passy from FEMA is here joining us in the studio. Popular man and a welcome sight. FEMA is here in Bay County and all the counties that have been hit by Hurricane Michael. Let's start with what information do you want to get out to all the people out there?
I'd say the most important thing I could say to anyone who's recovering is to continue to follow the recommendations of local officials to be safe during the cleanup and the recovery. But FEMA's here. We're going to be here for months to support this recovery operation. We do want people to recognize that FEMA and our federal partners are here to support state and local authorities. But if somebody suffered a loss from Hurricane Michael, first they file insurance. Then, if they know that they're going to have losses because they don't have insurance or their insurance doesn't cover everything, there's several ways to apply. They can go to disasterassistance.gov. Okay. They can call 800-621-3362, and we've got operators that can function in a variety of languages, including video relay service. Or we've got, as you said, Kelly, 24 teams in the field across the disaster area that are meeting with survivors face-to-face to register them for disaster assistance, not just FEMA assistance.
Right. You talked about online registration and calling. Communication is a huge issue here. Let's talk about those teams on the ground. Where can people find those?
Right. The teams are working primarily at shelters right now to help people who we still have, a couple thousand or more than 1,000 people in shelters. And then they're going to where there are already people located. More teams will be coming. Eventually, we'll be opening a local, state, federal recovery center where it's kind of a one-stop shop for information, and people can register there as well. It's probably fastest if people have the communications access to call or register online. But again, these 24 teams in the field can answer questions and help people register for disaster assistance.
All right, now talk a little bit about, there's so many people out there that haven't gotten in touch with loved ones. You're saying there's two ways that folks, if they're safe and well, that they can get that information out.
Exactly. Now, we know communications has been a challenge for everybody here in the Panhandle. Definitely. But if people have access, Facebook check-in is a great way for people to do that, or the Red Cross runs an outstanding Safe and Well website. So if people can get to the redcross.org Safe and Well site, they can check in with their family members.
redcross.org Safe and Well.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
It's also a place where if someone wants to know how to help, they could go to the Red Cross or other charities of their choice to donate. Cash is best.
Okay. Talk a little bit about, just supplying basic necessities. You guys are, there's water. People need water. There's different locations. They're all over the place.
Right. Fortunately, there are a bunch of water and food sites around the Panhandle counties. FEMA's providing bulk food and water to a number of distribution sites. The National Guard has soldiers out there who are delivering those commodities, and then volunteer organizations that are a critical part of community recovery are also sharing and generously sharing resources.
And now you've been out in some of these communities. How should, if your home is gone, you need to reach out to FEMA, but how does someone know if they need to go to you?
If they're unsure, we would ask them just to call. We can help people through that process. Again, insurance is always the first line of financial recovery, but contacting disasterassistance.gov or the 800-621-3362 number can lead to a variety of referrals, including perhaps to the disaster distress line or other support mechanisms that are here in the community to help people first understand they're not alone and then to know what step to take next.
So it's so important. There's so many people out there, they're just kind of walking, they just don't know what to do. So this is a great way to begin. 1-800-621-3362 is the number that kind of gets you rolling.
Right.
Insurance first, you said, though. If you have insurance, contact insurance first.
Right. And so when someone's registering for disaster assistance, it'll be really helpful if they've got some identification, they know the address, they can describe the damages, they can provide how we will contact them, so a phone number, email address, and also someplace to receive paperwork, because that's part of this process as well.
Oh yeah, and that'll get people going. So that's
all right.
That's the best thing. Just we're in the goal to just rebuild. So yeah.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate
you so much for being
and all the
here
people.
and all your crews.
Glad you're back on air. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it, Dave.
You bet.
All right.
Thank you. Well, we did mention President Trump's visit to the Panhandle earlier. He was flying into Eglin Air Force Base just to tour the damage. Now, that was a little bit after 10:30 today, and he did get on Marine One. Governor Rick Scott did greet him at Eglin, and he did touch on some of the work of Florida officials. He says Florida officials have done an incredible job handling this, and we have so much help coming in. Now, this is his first time getting down here to really assess the damage. So, like we said, he landed at Eglin, got on Marine One, and he toured around and saw that damage. And, he noted just all the homes gone. And we've seen that personally here on the ground, just driving around ourselves, how many homes are just destroyed.
Yeah, and one area that really took a good chunk of Michael, not only the east side of Bay County, Tyndall Air Force Base.
Yes, I was there this morning, and it did take a huge hit.
Yeah, I've heard that they've got family housing out there, and I've heard that there are no homes that are livable.
No, they're marking homes. They're just roofs gone, trees, and that's the scene everywhere. Through the Callaway, Parker, Springfield area, East Panama City. It's just devastating.
Yeah, it really is. So here's a little bit of some of the information we have. Death toll, as it stands as of a little while ago, is up to 18. Dozens unaccounted for just in the Mexico Beach area.
Yeah,
Mexico Beach
there's still authorities are on the ground.
Yeah, rescue
searching.
crews are in there going home by home. They've got the rescue dogs out there just trying to find anybody. The last number of people without power in Florida, 170,000 was the last number that we saw.
Yeah, we will have updates from Gulf Power later on in the show.
We will, yes. And water and food distribution sites really all over the place. There's the major companies like Red Cross and FEMA and countless. I mean, go on for a while. And then there's all just little mom and pops that are able to help, are jumping in to help as well.
They're messaging us, those who do have service are messaging our Facebook, our Twitter pages, and we're getting that information out as quick as possible. I know Aaron's on 15th Street contacted us this morning and said they were passing out about 200 cases of water to whoever needed it. These businesses, they're doing what they can along with the officials here helping. And we have so many people set up. We have people set up all over. Even in the Panama City Mall, if you have been driving around, you can see their tents.
It's Tent City.
It is Tent City.
The mall parking lot is literally Tent City. And Alex Thorson, one of our WMBB reporters, you were out there just a little while ago. Talk a little bit about what you saw and who you spoke with.
Yeah, so basically outside the Panama City Mall, it's kind of a staging area for a few search and rescue trucks. We saw the State Farm Insurance out there, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that, but they have, a car claim area for cars to actually drive through. And so that's basically what it's been out there. I actually just got back so I can play this video for you guys and show
give
you
us a look of what it's like
what it's looking like out there right now. So basically you can see Dillard's here. There's quite a bit of damage. Workers are clearing water inside of Dillard's there. I think from what I saw, that was one of the hardest hit areas of the mall, and they're feeling pretty ambitious. I guess they're trying to open as soon as possible, as I know a lot of local businesses are. Panama City Mall, Erin Womack, I spoke with her today, and she said they're hoping to get opened as soon as they can. And the sign here, that is like a lot of signs we've seen in the area. Danger, do not enter, loot, and I'll shoot. What you're seeing here is some of the electricity, Gulf Power, kind of like I said, a staging area for people to, take a break as people are working to restore power. This woman here, she actually worked for a tree removal company, and she's actually sleeping in that tent as she and her workers aren't out, removing. You can see that tree there. That's right outside the Panama City Mall. We're seeing that all over town, obviously. So they're going out and trying to remove those trees. But Erin Womack from the mall, the marketing director, she said that this is going to be a whole grand opening event because several areas from the mall actually they did get hit there. So it's going to be a whole grand opening. She even said that they might actually use this experience to make the mall even better than it was before. They don't have a timeline right now. I know that people at home are probably not trying to go on a shopping spree, but get clothes if they need clothes. So that's why
the necessary supplies.
Exactly. That's why I went out to the mall to see when they would open. But she said we don't have a timeline. We're hoping to get started as soon as possible. But like I said, we'll talk more about that State Farm insurance a little bit later today, because they're trying to get people with cars that have been hit by the storm too in there. And even if you're not a customer, there's also resources that people can use.
And now you showed that one woman, you said she was just camping out there. She's part of a tree removal service from out of town now. Are there other people like that who just came on their own?
Yeah, we saw some people. So she was alone. Her crew was out, and like I said, they're coming back to the tent, to sleep there at night. We did see some search and rescue people there. A lot of trucks. People kind of just standing around. It's hot out. People need water. They're taking a little break. So a lot of people out at the mall. The entire parking lot is just filled with, like you said, tents and trucks and a bunch of different resources out there for people.
Yeah, I had a friend of mine, Kerry, he has a tree removal business up in Alabama, and he called me. I happened to be, I headed to Pensacola yesterday real quick to get some supplies on the way back. He's like, hey, if I bring my stuff down there, me and my partner, could we be used? I said, you can be used for probably a month.
Yes.
I said, yeah, if you just come down and help out.
Yeah, people. She came from, I think, the Dothan area, I believe. So yeah, they just came down here and they said, we're going to help. They said, we're not going to, charge people extra. We're not going to get into any of that business. We just want to, help people and remove those trees, because with this storm, so many trees down on the road.
They got hit themselves over there. So for her to come down over here to help, that really does mean a lot.
All right, Alex, thank you very much for everything you're doing, and be safe. You go back out there.
Thanks.
Now, we have not forgotten about, we talk a lot about the damage that Bay County took. But you know what? There's so many others. We have 5 other counties that really in our viewing area: Gulf County, Franklin County, Washington, Holmes County. Yeah, there's so many of them. And one area up in Bluntstown, I want to get this out, they're cooking for people that need it.
Yeah, and it's fantastic.
Across from Magnolia Square, the first day they fed 2,000. The second day they fed 5,000. Yesterday they fed 8,000. So they're continuing, but they need cooks. So if you can get to Bluntstown and want to volunteer to cook, go to across from Magnolia Square right there in downtown Bluntstown, and they just need help cooking.
Now, as far as other supplies, do they need anything else going in?
Tarps. Tarps is a big thing in Bluntstown. There's so many people that they can't even get out of their homes, their property. There's huge trees down, and they're just talking about throwing tarps over the trees to give to people to try and put on their homes, because that's really what you want to do. An adjuster will tell you, get tarps on your property. As far as the insurance companies go, they want you to do something to help protect your own stuff until they can get out there and assess that damage.
Yeah, you definitely want to tarp your property and take care of your property and clean it up as soon as possible. And we know that area got hit pretty hard out there, and like you said, we had reporters out there who gave us back this information, and we'll have more coming up. But for now, we're going to go ahead and toss it to Justin just to go ahead and check back on the weather and the conditions coming up. Justin?
All right, Kelly, Chris, thanks a lot. I wanted to show this sort of picture of the tropics. Now, I don't have satellite data just yet. I'm working on it, or some other things that I could typically show you. So I just took the picture of the tropics, and I wanted to show you an area where there's a little weather disturbance in the Western Caribbean. It's right really at the border of Honduras and Nicaragua. It is likely it could get a little stronger, and the Hurricane Center gives it about a 40% chance for further development. But it's going to head up here toward the southern sections of the Yucatan. This is near Belize, and it should go in near Roatan and perhaps move across the southern sections of Mexico. Not likely to do much after that. It's moving toward the inland areas of southern Mexico and the northern stretches of Central America. There is a tropical storm out here over the eastern Pacific. Now, that is not a Gulf of Mexico system. It is an Eastern Pacific system. So just something and I'm going to get some satellite pictures to sort of reaffirm this description of what's happening right now in the tropics. For the forecast across the Panhandle, for the coastal areas, now this is from Destin over toward Appalachia, and then inland maybe a mile or two. You've got nighttime lows tonight in the low 70s, so prepare for a very warm and humid overnight. Inland nighttime temperatures will be in the upper 60s. There'll be a shower or two. I just checked radar. I have seen a radar picture, and there's a couple of pop-up showers in South Alabama right now. I look for that to be again the case tomorrow. So a 20% chance for very isolated showers and thunder showers. No widespread heavy rain, no downpour rain. This will be a brief shower or two. And notice the daytime highs. Mid to upper 80s, maybe near 90 degrees with a lot of humidity, so the heat index. This is pretty awful weather to have to be doing the outdoor work. So take all the breaks you could possibly, and let everybody know as you come in, as you're going to be doing work from the outside coming in, this is the weather that we can expect across the Panhandle, not only tomorrow, but Wednesday and perhaps even Thursday as well. Coming up in the next few weather segments, if things go right, we'll have some pictures of some of those clouds and also some radar look, and we'll look ahead to the upcoming weekend forecast. So Kelly and Chris, that's a quick update on the weather forecast for the Florida Panhandle for the next 24 hours.
All right, thanks a lot, Justin. Real quick, I got to get this out there for folks that need dialysis, because there's so many people out there that need dialysis. There's 2 locations opening up. DaVita in Lynn Haven, that's 404 East 24th Street. 404 East 24th Street in Lynn Haven. And the DaVita Coastal Kidney Center, that's at 510 North MacArthur Avenue, right down here by Bay Medical Center. So if you need dialysis, those are the 2 locations that you need to go to right now.
That's incredibly important.
24th Street in Lynn Haven and North MacArthur Avenue here in Panama City.
Thanks for sharing that, and if it's not already, we'll go ahead and put that up on our Facebook page so you can access that information again. Now, since Hurricane Michael hit, one of our biggest issues has been the power. The power has been out for a lot of residents east of the Hathaway Bridge. And at last check, a lot of people are still without power, but thankfully, we have Stan Connolly, the CEO of Gulf Power, who joins us now to hopefully give us an update. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, I want to start off by saying kudos to Gulf Power and all the crews. 16 states, you said?
Roughly 16 states are here helping nearly 6,000 workers.
Amazing.
Yeah, when we heard yesterday that October 24th is your all's goal to get 95% power up to homes that can receive the power, that put a joy to every one of us.
Well, especially us.
Yeah, and there's one particular company that could use your promptness in helping out in the folks in this area. Tell us about what's next for you guys.
Well, first of all, let me quickly say to all our customers and our fellow citizens, you're on our hearts and minds right now. And we've got 6,000 workers here that just care about getting the lights back on, but you know it restores hope to a community at the same time when power comes back on. So we have our team entirely mobilized, and that includes the workers that are here. We've got 7 staging sites, locations for these workers to go and sleep and to get their meals and to get showers. But for us to be able to quickly mobilize them to the work, we've got multiple material stations where they can get their materials. So I just left from riding around town, really from Lynn Haven all the way to here, and we've got bucket trucks in the air everywhere. And they're putting poles in the ground and wire in the air, and that's a great start to getting the lights back on.
Now, we talked about earlier interviews, the power grid's going to have to be rebuilt. Can you go ahead and just talk about that?
Sure. Well, many of the customers we've restored so far, and we have restored nearly 50% of the customers that were out from the peak of Hurricane Michael. Many of those were in areas that we could simply repair. The poles were not broken, or the wire just needed to be rehung on the poles. In many cases here, as you see, we're rebuilding from the ground up, putting new poles in the ground, new wire in the air, repairing our substations. So rebuilding will take a little longer. And in those areas you described by October the 24th, those hardest hit areas, those will be the areas we have to rebuild.
Now I did hear a number. How long does it take just to get one of those poles up and just get moving?
Well, our workers are they're professionals, and they do this for a living. They can do it in a matter of hours at one pole location. But what you've seen today, and it's an amazing sight to see, is you've got several bucket trucks in a row down a system, maybe up to 20 bucket trucks in a row. Every bucket truck is putting a pole in the ground, and then they string wire from each pole, almost handing it off to each other. And that's the teamwork that's required to do that.
And it's amazing. I mean, I was driving down 23rd, and I already saw some of those poles going up, but we still have some down power lines in areas. Should people be driving over those?
Well, those power lines should be de-energized, but we certainly encourage our customers, if you can avoid it, don't drive over those lines, and certainly don't touch those lines. What I have found today riding around is most areas we've cleared those off the roadways, but I did see several where it still exists. We'll work hard to get those off the roads, but please be careful. That is one of the most dangerous things about a restoration and a rebuilding like this is the power lines that are down. We cannot touch those.
What's one of the biggest difficulties you guys are running into? Is traffic one? I mean, a lot of people are kind of driving around and just kind of looking and seeing what the damage is. I mean, is that kind of hindering the progress a little bit?
Well, in some ways it does, but thankfully But if we could ask for help from the public, it really is to minimize the traffic around where these line workers are. It's dangerous work to start with, but we do need to move during the day, and the less traffic sure would help facilitate a quicker response.
Now, there's a lot of homes, particularly down in the Cove area, which used to be inundated with trees. Now they're all laying across the lines, going from where it is from the street to their homes. Is there any kind of an idea of time on how, I know October 24th is kind of the time you set to get to those locations that homes that can receive power, but there's so many homes out there where the trees aren't going from the pole to their homes.
Sure. So we have seen that everywhere we've gone so far, is trees on the lines, trees on homes. Of the 6,000 workers we have here locally, I would estimate nearly 1,000 of those are tree trimmers. And their job is to get ahead of the line workers, to go into the areas like the Cove, and where they can, go ahead and clear the debris, clear the trees, so when the line workers come back, they can just go straight to work on restoring service.
Yeah. Awesome. Stan, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Again, kudos to your team and everybody down here helping.
Thank you.
We can't express in words the appreciative we have of you
Well,
guys.
we all knew this was an unprecedented storm, and we're hoping you'll see an unprecedented response from Gulf Power Company.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much, and thanks for taking the time to come on.
Thank you very much. All right, Stan Conley. Real quick, you said originally you had 100,000 Gulf Power customers here in Florida, and there's other power companies.
Sure.
But
we had 120,000 customers in total at the peak of the storm. We've nearly cut that in half. Half of our customers have had their power restored.
All right. Excellent.
That's
awesome.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank
you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good day. Be safe out there driving around.
And then, once again, he said an October 24th date, but that is if your house can take power.
Correct. And a lot of those are still being worked on as well. Like he said, the tree trimmers and people going out there and cutting and trying to prepare all those homes that do have trees on the lines to make sure that when the power does come on, they are able to.
And if you've driven around, or even in your own neighborhood, these lines are just mangled and tangled, and it is taking a lot of work, and they're working very fast for what it is.
Yeah, and one of the things, not only are homes damaged, but the trees are falling on cars, and there's so many people out there that even if they wanted to leave, if they want to leave their homes, they can't because their cars have trees laying on them.
Tree through the windshield, or just damaged.
And so people want to get them fixed and up and running as fast as possible. Kirsten Mitchell is here to talk a little bit about car damage and how fast and what people can do to get it going.
Yes, absolutely. We are at the Panama City Mall in the parking lot where there's, as we heard, a big staging area for a lot of services. And State Farm was there, and I talked to some of the agents there, and they're really advising people right now to just document everything, go out, use your phone and walk around and talk and show every part of the damage, because that's really going to help you in the long run if you can't get in touch with your insurance company right now. I do have an interview that I want to play for you with a State Farm agent. He has some really great advice.
Okay, so
I think we're working on.
Yeah, that's the tent though. But that's the tent you were talking about that you can drive right through it.
Yeah, so they actually have an open tent where people can, if their cars aren't damaged too bad, they can make it to the mall. They can actually drive through, and they can get estimates for repairs. They have 20 to 30, even sometimes 40, 50 agents there at a time, ready to help people. Just bring in your car, and they can tell you where to even begin, and if your car what you can salvage from it. And then let's see, also State Farm, they do serve, thousands of people here. They're one of the biggest insurance companies around, as we know. And they're, they want people to know that they are offering grace periods up to 10 days for payments for car insurance and their bills for State Farm. So, it's just kind of that waiting period, and it's really hard, they're finding, because a lot of the auto shops are not open. So even if your car is damaged, you can't go anywhere to get it fixed. So that's kind of what they're grappling with right now, and they're just trying to kind of get that word out to be patient, and they're going to be in that parking lot for months, they said. So.
And is State Farm right now the only one set up in the mall parking lot?
As far as I know, they told me that a lot of their agency here is really destroyed right now, so they're bringing in outside workers from other State Farm agencies across the country, really, and they're working on finding a temporary housing space for them so that they can really get up and running and get you know, a comfortable work environment for all these employees that traveled, you know, all this way to help out.
But for now, they're at the Panama City Mall, and that's a pretty good setup. You know, it's an area, high traffic area over there.
Yep, they have a lot set up there, and they're having some water. They're giving out water there, and they actually had a Wi-Fi spot too. There was some trouble with the Wi-Fi. It was kind of going in and out, so I don't want to promise there's Wi-Fi at the mall at this time. But they are working on getting some service for people so they can come out and, you know, at least hunker down and touch base with loved ones, because a lot of people still haven't done that yet.
Yeah, definitely. And I know, I don't know as far as Allstate, I know Geico is set up.
Three locations,
Okay, I know at Bay, Lincoln, Mercury,
they're at
Dodge.
Bay Lincoln on 15th.
On 15th.
Then they're at Precision Collision on Minnesota, I believe, and then Gerber Collision out on Front Beach. So they have 3 locations for anyone to get to. And they have their, you know, the flags, and I'm sure State Farm also has the flags so you can see, see from the road so people can get out there.
And Olympus Insurance was there as well. If anyone is, you know, using them, they can head over to the Panama City Mall, because that whole parking lot, that's a really great space where people can just have a central location.
Just for everything.
Yeah.
And if someone's out there watching with Allstate and you know of location, try and get hold of us on via, well, Facebook page.
Facebook, Twitter, we have someone
communication. Communication's slightly tough right now, but yeah, try if you can get on Facebook, WMBB-TV, send us a message so we can let people know where Allstate is staging as well, some of the bigger companies. Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, Kirsten, thank you very much. I know you're probably heading back out. Stay safe while you're out there.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Now, she was just talking about car and insurance providers, and like we said, Geico, State Farm, we're seeing them all out there. But yeah, like you said, you see these homes damaged, and you kind of do forget about the vehicles, and the damage is unbelievable.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, we could sit here for 30 minutes and talk about all the crazy things that we've seen out there. And I think, to me, one of the craziest is the boxcars. If you're not from here, Highway 231, which is one of the main highways that goes out of town, it goes up to Interstate 10. There's train tracks that parallel Highway 231, and there are 2 sets of boxcars, the big train boxcar trains.
Heavy-duty,
the biggest ones you can see, I think.
Just blown over.
Blown over. There's like 2 sets of 20, so there's about 40 boxcars laying on the side. So that's just an idea of the impact of the wind.
The damage you're looking at is unreal. And pictures and video, you know, we're trying to get it out there, but it doesn't do it justice.
No.
You know, it's impossible to describe, to put into words. But I was driving down 231 and I saw it, and it's probably for about a mile stretch. This train is just flipped over.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. All right, Peyton Cicero here as well. Now, Peyton, you went out to...
I went over to Panama City Beach, and we were trying to find places because you know, a lot of people are trying to get cash because those are the only way that they can get their supplies.
All the credit cards are down.
So there's no power, can't use credit cards. So we went to Panama City Beach to see where we could find who has ATMs that are working that people can go ahead and get that cash out. So I found Publix on Panama City Beach. They have a Presto ATM, and they are... Some people's cards work, some people's don't. We had probably 3 or 4 people in line that were able to get cash, and then there was about 2 people after them that couldn't. So
is this one on Back Beach?
This is on Back Beach.
Near Breakfast Point?
Yes.
Okay.
So right over by the Navy, Naval. So, you know, that's one place where people can go and get their withdrawals. Publix is accepting credit cards. You can get you can withdraw money after you make your purchase of your groceries and get your items there, but you can only get $50 with each purchase. Over at Winn-Dixie, we went right next to Publix. There's a Winn-Dixie, and they are also doing cash back. So with each purchase, you can get $100 back. But they are taking EBT. They're taking credit and debit, and they're encouraging people to go ahead and use those cards. That way they can keep the cash for people who can't use their credit cards. So they are open from 8 until 5 p.m. That way they can stay within that curfew. And they have all of the supplies. They have water, they have dairy products. They're a little low on meats, but they have pretty much everything that you might need. Yeah, they're being restocked. They are running on generators, so all their stuff is fresh. So if you really need supplies and you have the cash, the cards, you can go there and get those supplies.
So to clarify, these are the 2 on Thomas Drive.
Thomas Drive, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So Thomas Publix and Winn-Dixie on Thomas Drive.
Thomas Drive, yes.
Okay.
The other thing I wanted to tell you guys about was yesterday I went to the Tyndall news conference to talk about the update on Tyndall. So the Secretary of the Air Force, Heather Wilson, was there, and we asked her, you know, we've heard lots of speculation that Tyndall might be a total loss. We've seen the images of how bad it was damaged, and when she said that it's not a total loss, they're going to get operations up and going eventually. It's going to take them a few days. They're asking all of their airmen and women to sit tight where they are for right now. That way they can get everything cleared out. They've had no injuries so far, so they don't want anyone to have any injuries going into their houses to get their things out. That they evacuated 11,000 people from that base and relatively quickly. So a lot of people still have a lot of personal items in those houses.
But at least they got out.
But at least they got out and they have no injuries. So they're waiting until it's safe for people to get back over there to get their belongings. So they're saying, you know, please be patient. We'll get you guys in there.
Yeah, they evacuated, like you said, a lot of personnel and a lot of aircraft. This is home
they were flying
to
them out,
F-22s,
yeah.
F-35s, F-16s, T-38s. I mean, there were a lot of planes that left here in a very short amount of time.
And you know, another thing is they fuel a big chunk of our economy. So a lot of people are worried about the jobs. Heather Wilson had told us, you know, don't worry about those jobs. We're going to get those jobs back in there. And all of those people, all of the civilians who had jobs there, they're still being paid and they're still getting their medical right now. So that's great that they're able to still, you know, get those funds, those resources until they get back up on their feet, until Tyndall gets running again. And hopefully they get it done as fast as possible. Yeah.
Well, it's good to hear that they're being taken care of and that everyone's safe, that they were evacuated in time. You know,
yes,
personal belongings are belongings, but your life is your life.
You can rebuild your house, your home. You can't rebuild a life.
That's right. All right.
Thank you so much, Peyton.
Thank you.
Very much.
So that was Peyton Lowe-Cicero. Peyton was just talking about Tyndall Air Force Base and then everything that is open to give you cash. So she's mentioned the Publix and the Winn-Dixie on Thomas Drive. She said you could get cash back there. You could get cash from an ATM there, but there was a limit on cash back. She said $50.
50, and then one of them was Winn-Dixie 100. One of them was 100. 100, yeah.
Yes.
So $100 at Winn-Dixie. So, yeah, if you need. So a lot of folks, though, a lot of people are going across the Hathaway Bridge to get those supplies. So when people are coming back, they're all coming back together because there's still a curfew here on this side of the bridge. And I believe Mike Thomas from the beach said their curfew runs from 9 to 7, or 7 to 9, 7 to 9
yes.
out on the beach. But here it's dusk to dawn still. So a lot of people are having to get out there and come back, and it is taking forever to get anywhere in this town.
Be mindful of curfews. Make sure you're getting across when you need to. And the earlier you go over the bridge, the better. You're stuck in that crazy traffic. But for now, we're going to go ahead and just take a little check-in with Justin. Justin?
Well, Kelly, one of the things that kind of popped up over the last couple of days were sort of rumors, if you will, internet postings that we didn't get to see here, obviously without communication, but everybody else did. And then those rumors kind of trickled in regard to tropical development in the Gulf of Mexico. And someone had posted tropical storm to Hurricane Michael spaghetti plots over the Gulf of Mexico and tried to insinuate that something else was happening. And it couldn't have been further from the truth. The Gulf was completely clear at the time. But, you know, there are a couple of things in the tropics to talk about. So let's do just that. This is just a weather disturbance that the Hurricane Center has given about a 40% chance for possible development. It's very close to Central America. And here in this little bite here between the northern sections of Honduras and then up toward the Yucatan, there's potential for it to get a little bit organized before it moves in toward Belize and into the southern sections of the Yucatan and across southern Mexico. Not likely to become anything more than a big rainmaker for that section of Central America and southern Mexico. Now, there is a tropical storm. It is Tara. Now, this is over in the Pacific. And Tara has the potential to kind of just slowly meander up into the eastern sections of the Pacific south of the Baja. Now, one thing I will say, and as we look at Tara, and again, eventually it's just going to kind of really slowly move here, is that moisture from the weather disturbance over Central America and moisture from what will be Tropical Storm Tara may actually work across Mexico and toward the Gulf. Not low pressure, not a hurricane, not a tropical storm, but just moisture that will get entwined with a frontal boundary that'll push down. The first front goes through on Saturday. There'll be another front after that. The fronts will stall, and then this moisture will work along the front, really working towards maybe central and south Florida. I don't see any of this kind of working up toward the northern Gulf. So the two little weather systems may actually kind of pump some moisture toward the Gulf of Mexico. Now, again, Gulf waters are warm, and there'll be a front down here. And as you well know, over the time that we've been together for the last decade or so, I always tell you to watch out for stalled fronts over the Gulf. Now, with moisture kind of streaming in and a low pressure or a cold front stalled, there's an ability or a potential for a low to form and then move over central Florida and out toward the Atlantic. That is, I'm looking out 2 weeks from now. So 10 to 14 days, that kind of scenario may play out. Nothing that I've seen shows any of that making its way toward the northern Gulf, the Florida Panhandle, or the southeastern states. So just a couple of things I wanted to point out in regard to the tropics right now. This is Terra over the Pacific Ocean and not likely to do a whole lot over the next 5 days. And that one weather system out over here near Nicaragua and Honduras will move inland toward the southern sections of the Yucatan and southern Mexico. So that's the tropical picture now. Nothing else. Nothing else out there of any concern toward the northern Gulf, the Florida Panhandle. So just keep that in mind for the folks that you are invested in, interested in, and loved ones here across the northern Gulf who are right now dealing with the aftermath of Michael, that currently the tropics are not an issue. Now, we've got our heat and humidity and thunderstorms, and we'll talk more of that part of the forecast coming up in just a bit. But Chris and Kelly just want to kind of do a tropical weather update, see what's going on out there right now.
Yeah, a lot of people are very happy.
Yeah, a lot of people stopped by and asked us about that.
Oh, yeah? Yeah, because there were rumors, and somebody was reposting, Justin was saying this yesterday, somebody out there was reposting when Michael was out in the Caribbean, and they were reposting that on Facebook and social media, and then people were then sharing that, saying, oh, this is going on out there, when, in fact, as Justin just said.
Justin just cleared it up. Now, we do have an update. This is from the city of Panama City. Water and sewer update. As of Monday, October 15th, master meters are being opened, which allows water to flow from Bay County's lines to our Panama City water lines. Now, this means some customers will begin to have running water, but at this time, crews are working to locate and repair any water leaks, which could affect water flow to some areas of the city. Now, when your water is restored, they do want to remind you, do not drink it. There is a boil water notice in effect for Bay County, and our sewer system is operating at 50%. Once again, this is from the city of Panama City. So we're urging our customers to please limit the water and sewage you send down toilets and drains. Now, crews are working to place generators at all lift stations, which is a pump that helps move sewage in the lines to our wastewater treatment facilities. So if you're in Panama City and you do start to get your water back, you know, yay, but limit it, you know, be careful.
Oh, yeah. And boil your water. Do not take any chances. Even though your water may look like it did before the storm, no.
Not the same
make
after
sure
5, 6
make sure you
days.
boil it. So yeah, be very careful. All right. One of the things a lot of folks are curious about: gasoline.
Oh yes.
Yeah, gas. That is a commodity around here. That yeah, it's a commodity that a lot of people like to have right now. Aaron Morgan, you were out in Callaway?
Yes.
Okay,
yeah.
you were out in Callaway. Tell us about what's happening.
So I was at the Callaway Walmart where they were giving away gas. It's a nonprofit called Fuel for Relief, and apparently they are the only nonprofit in the entire world that gives away free gasoline. Oh. So people were lined up at the Callaway Walmart since early this morning. I talked to some people who were there since 8:30, but line started before that. They said at one point, they've been here since Michael hit the day after. Oh, wow. At one point they had a 5-mile line of people
for
waiting.
Free gas, oh yeah.
Yeah, of people waiting for gas, yeah. We were at the Callaway Walmart, we got there around, I want to say like 10 this morning, and the line was pretty long. I'm going to go ahead and play you guys this video so you guys can see. This was the line when we got there. Everyone, but they ran out of the way that they could do it because it got so low. They couldn't fill up vehicles anymore, so people could only bring their 5-gallon things to be filled up.
Was there a limit per person?
Some people had 2 to 3 cans. I talked to one guy and he said, I'm bringing one. I'm going to be fair. I want everyone to be able to get this gas. But a lot of people, you know, bringing them, sticking it right in their vehicles. But that's the nonprofit right there. They have that truck right there that they can fill up. And that's them filling the cans right there.
So yeah. What's the limit again of gas cans that people?
I want to say it's probably 1. I know people brought more than 1, of course, but yeah, they're just getting them, sticking them right in their cars. So.
And now, are they going to be out there every day? How often are they going to be doing this?
This was their last day, unfortunately. I spoke to the executive director there, and she said this is their last day out there. So. Yeah, but people have been out there since the day after the storm at first they were doing vehicles. She said they also were helping the local emergency response teams fill up their trucks and stuff.
Oh, that's good.
So that's really good. But yeah, the line was just crazy. Very emotional, yes. But a lot of people had been in line that we were talking to since 8:30 just waiting. And they told some people, they said at the back of the line, you guys might not get any, and they're like, whatever, we're waiting.
We're waiting, yeah.
Yeah, why not?
Now, one of the things that's interesting is I've lived here for, well, I was in the Air Force from 87 to 90, and I lived in Callaway. I didn't recognize, when you rolled the video first, I didn't recognize where you were at.
Right.
And that's like that everywhere right now.
Well, we have our sister stations here, so they're like, we're going to Callaway today, and I'm trying to direct them through.
There's no
on
street
a normal
signs
day,
anymore.
that would be a breeze to get over to Callaway today. I don't recognize things that would normally tell me where I am. It's just crazy. So, yeah, but that was good. People getting their gas, being able to one guy said, I just want to be able to refrigerate things. I just want to be able to eat. So.
Yeah. Now, there are some gas stations that are open. I know I passed by the gas station up at 79 and Highway 20 in Ebro. So there are some gas stations that are opening closer to us. And eventually, as power gets restored, there'll be more and more opening up.
Yeah.
So we won't have such a necessity, but people will need like that just to get out to the other areas to get gas.
Yeah. Another thing is that AMI gas station over heading towards Callaway. A lot of gas stations have been ruined, so that's a big concern too.
A lot of them.
Yeah.
So, all right, Aaron, thank you very much.
Thank you guys.
Sure.
Yeah, like she said, a lot of those gas stations are just going to have to be completely rebuilt. But, as things start, getting normal, Panama City Beach, they'll start having gas. Areas closer to us, I know right now a lot of people are coming from in town, heading to the beach side, and just, trying to get gas over there with those long lines. It probably makes a lot of sense that they send no cars, because it's easier to control a long line of people.
Right.
Than it is to control a long line of vehicles.
Yeah, and there's vehicles everywhere on my way home, which in the mornings it takes me anywhere from, of course I come really early in the morning to work, from anywhere from 9, 10, 11 minutes. It took me an hour last night to get home, and God bless all the FHP troopers out there staying in the sun all day long, directing traffic. And so yeah, thank you all very much for being out there and helping get the traffic and all the police cars and ambulances that are going by, and giving them the right of way. Everybody's doing a really good job of stopping and trying to get out of the way to let them get to where they need to go, because they know it could be a life and death situation, and that's what you would want if it was your life that was on the line.
And there's so many people who are saving lives. We have Taylor here now joining us from Search and Rescue. Hey.
How y'all doing?
Good. How are you? Hopefully I got that right.
Tired.
Taylor.
Tyler.
Taylor. There we go. Taylor. Now how are you doing, Taylor?
We're tired, but we're still going. We've been going since landfall and doing search and rescue, doing wellness checks, supply distribution, food distribution. We've been doing body recovery with our cadaver team. We're just kind of covering all 5 phases ourselves until it's covered by someone else.
Can you talk about where you've been?
Yeah.
We've been all over Panama City, up into Lynn Haven, over into Callaway. We sent our cadaver dog team into Mexico Beach, and it was trying to jump out of the window. It was hitting so hard, but the chief of police there does not want us there, so we're using that to go through neighborhoods and still cutting in people out of trailers and homes, and using that dog to kind of see where people are no longer alive, to get closer to the family.
Would you say, do you have a number of how many people you have rescued?
We use Crowdsource Rescue. It's our platform. It's a mapping platform developed during Harvey, and it basically has a form online where a rescue victim can fill out the form. It has medical needs, elderly, kids, dogs. We don't forget about the animals. And that generates a dot on a map, and we send our rescuers out to those dots to clear them out one by one. And I believe yesterday we did 750 something.
Wow, that's amazing.
Wow.
And what area would you say? This is just all over Bay County?
All over Bay County, yeah.
And I know you've been on the ground. Just describe what you're seeing out there.
Every storm's been different. Harvey, we did 35,000 rescues in 10 days. That was a flood situation. I'm a swiftwater guy. And then we went into Irma, and it was kind of like this supply distribution. We supplied 30,000 people in the Keys for 3 weeks with 113 truckloads of donations that were turned away by the government. And they stopped us, and those guys lived there, and they asked us, can you do this? And we found out we're really good at it. And then we sent teams to Puerto Rico. We did 300,000 meal distributions there in 6 weeks. And then we did Florence. If y'all heard about the crazy guys that went out into the eye of the storm with local FD and police in New Bern.
You the crazy guys?
Yeah. We did 457, I believe, in 4 hours in and out of the storm. Then we kept going there, and here it's been kind of a Katrina aspect, and that's where our cadaver dog team flourishes. Is they did 323 body recoveries in Biloxi after Katrina.
Wow.
And we want to give that closure to families, so we're trying to work in all aspects and do what we can. And Operation Barbecue Relief has been cranking out 20,000 meals a day, and we're taking 2,000 of them out into neighborhoods that people aren't going to, and cutting our way in and feeding people.
So you got chainsaws, everything to there's so many down trees, I mean, and the power
tractors,
lines.
skid steers. Most of our people are EMTs and fire, so we have medical on site, and we're just kind of a one-stop shop and fully functional machine.
Now, when did you get down here, and how long do you guys plan to be here? What are your hours like on a regular day here?
About 23 hours straight, and then maybe sleep for an hour. I go probably about 3 days at a time. I'll sleep
so you
for
are
5.
tired.
Yeah, but we're going to be here until we're not needed. Operation Barbecue is going to be here for at least 3 weeks. They're kind of split right now. They're most of their operations in Tallahassee still, but once that winds down, they're going to go full-fledged here. And we're going to stay with them. The Houston Harvey Hub, Mayor Sylvester Turner has actually opened it back up, and all that's coming here. And so I'm trying to coordinate. I might have to run back to Houston and be present for that, but those first 18 truckloads are coming here, and I'm making sure they get out into the areas that they're needed.
Are you seeing kind of the same situation here that's similar to here up in Bluntstown and Bristol and the counties just north of
Yes,
Bay County?
It's not as dense, so it's harder. And a lot of our teams, because we work around the clock, we have EOC clearance, so we're working all night. And we send teams out, and up there it's a struggle because one road, you don't know that there's 3 splits off of it. It's not on a map yet.
Yeah.
And
It's so
there's homes
spread
back
out
there,
up
there's
there.
people back there, and it just looks like a tree every 1 foot for about a quarter mile. And we're having to cut through there, and there's an off chance we're going to cut through there for nothing, but it's worth it to where if we find somebody, even if they're okay,
Oh, definitely.
they now have a way out. They can now go get supplies. They can now do this, and we're not having to focus more attention on bringing them supplies because they're now self-sufficient.
Well, your work is not going unappreciated. You're doing the work
Oh,
of
yeah.
heroes.
Very
You guys
much
are
so.
heroes,
Yeah.
working 23
Oh,
hours
yeah.
a day.
Yeah.
And we appreciate it. And thank
Oh,
you
yeah.
so much. And, you know, how many did you say you rescued so far here in Bay County?
It's a couple thousand so far. I'd have to check with crowdsource, but
Wow.
the main thing, Operation Barbecue, they need volunteers in the mornings. They're right at the bottom of the 98 bridge by that CVS, and they could be cranking out 35,000 meals a day if they had the extra hands. So anybody looking to help, that would be amazing to get them some help.
Well, that'd be great.
Yeah, right over the Hathaway Bridge on the right. There's
Yeah,
that
right on the
CVS
right, you'll
there.
see all the 18-wheelers. Salvation Army actually picks up about half of their meals that they cook out, and then they go set up and distribute them out, and then we kind of do the rest. We're dropping them off with churches now. We're just trying to make sure everyone's taken care of, so I mean, we're not going to go home, but so we're not having to focus our attention so spread out, and we can maintain our focus on these areas that we know need it every day.
If someone's out there and they can get communication, is there a number they can call? And you know, if there's like, I got to have some help.
If they go to 50star.org/help.
50 Star?
Yeah, 50star.org/help. There's a form on there that will automatically send that information over to crowdsource. They'll put it on their map as a new rescue point, and we will immediately dispatch to there. We've actually been using the local radio stations, and the people calling in, it broke my heart. And last night there was a Marine veteran that he's okay, but he's eating pork rinds and drinking water out of his hot water heater. But he's a Marine, so it's expected. But that's up north too by Bluntstown, and we're just trying to get to those people. The second we get that off the radio, we're sending crews out to it. We have about 27 teams right now, so we're staying busy.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, we can't thank you enough from everybody around here. Thank you very much.
Taylor with Search and Rescue, just telling us about the amazing efforts that they're doing, you know, saving thousands of people, and they're not going to stop. He came in, we asked him, how are you? He said he's tired, and yes, he is tired. 23 hours. Can you believe that?
That's unbelievable. And there's so many people with the hearts, I mean, that are down here helping out, perfect strangers, and they just want to do what they can, you know, and just jumping in and saying, hey, how can I help? What can I do?
All right, yeah, and you know, we did talk about those outlying counties, and Shayna joins us now. You went to Calhoun County today.
I did.
That's an area a lot of people are concerned about. You know, we have Bluntstown over there. What did you see?
devastation, I mean, left and right. Houses completely destroyed. People really just starting to pick up the pieces of their lives at this point. We know a lot of them were running to the Home Depot and the Lowe's to kind of get supplies to cover what they have left of their roofs. There's a lot of people expecting rain later this week, potentially. So a lot of people that I spoke with are just really nervous and just getting desperate, because it is a desperate situation out there. But what is most refreshing, I think, is the people that have been helping, as you mentioned, those perfect strangers. And actually in Blountstown, we came across someone that's actually from Blountstown but moved to Texas, brought a truck down with fryers and grease and all kinds of stuff, and it's just saying, if you have food that's perishable, if you have chicken in your freezer that you don't want to go bad, or ribs, bring it over, we'll fry it, you'll have a hot meal. So you have thousands of people getting fed at this point that are tired of not having food, but it's just those people that are making the difference in Blountstown at this point. But definitely there's a long road to recovery ahead for that county.
Oh, for sure. And you come together, you become a family, you start to know your neighbors if you didn't already.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, very much so. In case you don't know, Shane is from WSAV, part of our Next Star Nation, as we call it, down here helping out so many people from Gulf Power and other power companies helping out. We couldn't do what we've done without the help of other reporters and producers and engineers. So we thank y'all very much for coming down here and helping out. Now, did you have any problem getting in and out of Blountstown? I mean, is the roads passable?
Yeah, what route did you take going there?
So route, actually, we went through Tallahassee because we had to go pick up some aerial footage from our affiliates out in Tampa. So we kind of took some back roads because a lot of I-10 was blocked out and a lot of traffic. So really, I was with my executive producer who's from Blountstown, so she kind of knew the back roads. She was our human GPS on that regard. But really, the main road that I think would normally take you to Blountstown, Highway 20, that was stop and go. So we really took a lot of those back roads, which was a risk because a lot of those trees are down, and it's been pretty risky overall. So getting to Blountstown wasn't as bad as we had anticipated, especially coming out of Tallahassee. But going into Panama City was definitely a different story, because that's when I started putting those checkpoints in for the curfew. So we started hitting way more traffic to get into Panama City than it was leaving Tallahassee. So that was one thing that I did notice. Another thing that struck me was the Blountstown football stadium is completely just destroyed and gone. The bleachers are torn up and really just flung around like it was a piece of paper, really. And just to give you a sense of how powerful the wind was, and how much really that, it would be amazing to see a picture A and a picture B at this point, because the whole stadium is gone. And I know that that's a big community meeting point for a lot of people out in Blountstown, it seems. I mean, I've never been to this part. This is my first time in the Panhandle, but I could tell that it's very community oriented and everyone knows everyone. And to see those, really popular places to be gone in just really an instant.
It's unrecognizable.
Absolutely.
Like Chris was saying, he's been here for so many years, and you're driving around. I've been here for almost 2 years, and it's just hard. You get lost.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then just the people that had everything, their lives are there, and just now trying to talk to them in probably the worst moments of their lives has been a very sobering experience. So my heart definitely goes out to all of those people, but definitely we're here on the ground to try to tell those stories and get the word out there, especially for those that are in need of FEMA assistance. We know Calhoun County was approved for FEMA assistance in the last couple of days, so they are eligible for individual financial aid if they need to. They can go to FEMA.gov and get that if they need it.
All right, Shannon, thank you very much for being here and helping out, trying to get the word out.
Thank
to
you.
everybody. It's much appreciated.
We'll continue
to
check
be here.
in, on Blountstown and Calhoun County, that entire area over there. We really appreciate you coming back with your report.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Glad to be here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now we're joined by Justin Kiefer.
Yeah. One of the things that Shannon just mentioned, and there was some similar stories up like in the Mariana area, where there was a lot of mangling, perhaps in a small definitive spot, whereas you get closer to the coast, then there's mangling in a wide spread. And there is possibility that some of the outer feeder bands that first came in could have contained tornadoes. But I will tell you that there's been this widespread sort of conception, or it's not a misperception, that there were tornadoes everywhere. And that's not really what happened. We had a massive hurricane with tornadic winds of 150 to nearly 200 miles per hour. That's going to do tornado-like damage. Individual tornadoes can't exist in the eye wall of a hurricane. They're delicate in their structure, though they're menacing on the ground. So a hurricane will be such a disruptive force that a tornado can't exist there. But in those feeder bands that are way out to the north or northeast, yes, there might have been tornadoes that dropped at that point. It's just that the core of that hurricane that came up through Mexico Beach, Eastern Bay County, across Calhoun and Jackson and Gadsden, and then Bainbridge and Seminole County in southwest Georgia, there were tornadic 140, 150 mile per hour winds, like F3, F4 tornadoes, but in a 50 miles wide swath.
Oh, wow.
It's going to create damage that looks just like a tornado, but it's essentially the hurricane winds. So it doesn't really matter. The wind has done the damage, whether it was a tornado or it was a hurricane. It really doesn't matter. It's just, I've heard it a lot. We had all these tornadoes. No, it was a giant tornado.
Well, that's what kind of looks like. Like if you've been up into Lynn Haven, there's a park up by City Hall called Sharon Sheffield Park. Beautiful tall trees. They just built a brand new gazebo to have concerts in the park there on Thursday. Yeah. It's like someone took a roller and just rolled the entire park and laid down all the trees. But then over on the next piece of property, there's still trees. There's no green. There's no foliage on them, but the trees are still standing. So it almost looks like you were talking about, like a tornado came in, popped right there on the park, and then kind of lifted up.
That's what it looks like. And there's potentially within the structure of the eye wall, and we are on that western eye wall, there could have been these little spins. They're mesovortices. They're not necessarily a tube tornado that comes out of the sky like Kansas or Alabama, but there's spins within the eye wall that can accentuate the hurricane force winds to go up another 10 or 15 miles per hour, just enough to create that next little level of damage. And the winds are pushing down and the rain's coming down, and this force of the rain blowing at 150 miles an hour also creates damaging conditions. So, you're going to see destruction that's comparable. I talked to one gentleman, and the comparison was to the Joplin tornado. And if you ever recall, or just take a look back, and if you have access to the internet, look at the damage created by the Joplin tornado, and it will look a lot like what we've seen. Only rather than a half mile wide, it's 50 miles wide. Yeah.
And another thing we're seeing, this destruction. It's unreal. It's unimaginable. The horizon. I can see the sun setting from my house now, and I was surrounded by trees, and you're coming over the Hathaway, and it is unreal. We actually pulled up our tower cam yesterday when we got back up and running to just kind of see, and it's completely different.
Yeah.
We can see the Tyndall Bridge.
That's right.
And I was on the Tyndall Bridge today, and you could see St. Andrew's Tower from the Tyndall Bridge.
Oh my goodness! Right.
So that just tells you there's nothing.
Yeah, and just prior on Tuesday, Alan Seals, meteorologist at WKRG in Mobile, and Steve Jervey, who's the chief meteorologist at WFLA in Tampa, and myself were on a three-wide sort of discussion of what was coming. And I had our tower cam up showing the bay, and I said, "Take a look at this. It's different. It's not going to look the same tomorrow."
No.
And you can say that, but then for it to happen is remarkable.
Yeah. I don't know if we can. I'm not sure. Can we access the tower cam?
Yeah, I don't know.
Are we able to?
Yeah. Well,
okay. So we're going to try it. We're going to try and do it and just give you a pan.
Okay. All right, let me step out and see if I can configure a graphic there and see if I can actually pull that up, because I do know that it's working.
Yeah, maybe we can come back and people can they can see what we're talking about. It's just really, it's hard to explain. You have to see it.
Yeah. Part of the tower cam is internet driven. I need a website to get up there and switch the camera around, but if it's pointing one direction, at least we can take a look at that.
Yeah, let's see what we can do, but in the meantime, we'll go ahead. We are joined by Caroline, who's also part of our Next Our Nation team.
Yeah.
Caroline, you are talking about food relief.
Yes, we were at the Walmart in Callaway, and I do have some video clips of it. We're going to play those. The Tyson team is working on feeding as many people as they can. They were out there today prepping everything. They're hoping to start feeding families around 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. As you can see, they have truckloads of hamburger buns and hamburgers and different things like that, and volunteers really from across the country. There are people from Wisconsin and Wyoming and all just trying to band together to get this food cooked and out to people, because people are really in need of basic necessities. They need food, they need water. So they are working on that right now. And hopefully they said that they will be, all right, and we could stop that B-roll. Yeah, Elwood always getting the shots. I wasn't.
Well, all our out-of-town help.
Strong.
So you're out-of-town help, and you're coming in and helping as well.
Yeah, we could go back. There we go. And that's the great thing. Just so many people from around the entire country are coming together and just trying to help any way they can. So tomorrow at the Walmart there, they're going to start serving meals about 10 o'clock.
And now, how long will they be doing that until not just tomorrow, but all week?
As of right now, they will definitely be there till Friday. They're hoping to extend that. He said it just depends how many people come out, but they will be there all week. He said they're going to be there until they run out of everything. But he said, you know, with Tyson and their program, their disaster relief program, they really have unlimited resources as long as they can get it here. So they're down to help as long as they can.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Caroline. And that's all we have from here in downtown Panama City. And we will continue to coverage. We'll actually have a show coming up, I believe, at 5.
Yes, so we're efforting getting some information out of Mexico Beach. So we're going to work on that as well. We have a lot of video of Mexico Beach, which really kind of took the brunt of everything. So we're going to touch on this, but we will be back here in the studio at 5 o'clock. And here's our tower camera.
Real quick before we go, Justin, join us over here, and we'll just go ahead and touch on that.
The only thing green is the grass. There's no green left on any of the trees.
We're looking.
Well, that's Bay Medical Center.
Yes.
Just to the
so
left
we're
side
looking
of your screen.
due east. The mill is in the eastern horizon, and the Bay Medical to the left. You guys take it out.
All right. Well, we're going to go back to our sister station, WFLA, who is continuing our coverage for us. Back to you guys.